wait for the end.
And sometimes it's all 2 and 3 and 4. Right? Which should be, because this should be a really peaceful place. So I encourage you to keep it that way.
Andrew, ask the ladies them, why don't they give it such a hard time? They get too dear in Hanover. The ladies them in Hanover, they're giving the coochie too dear.
JBN, we keep you informed. I'm Michelle Jones. Before we get into the news, please remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and share the news with someone today. Now on to the news. Taxi operator injured, 2 alleged attackers in custody following robbery. A taxi operator and one of 3 men who allegedly robbed him along Roosevelt Avenue, Kingston 6, on Saturday are now in hospital after they were both shot and injured during the incident. The police say a gun and several rounds of ammunition were also seized, while another of the alleged assailants is behind bars. The stadium police say at about 12:15 a.m., 3 men posing as passengers boarded the taxi operator's vehicle and proceeded to rob him. It is further reported that during the incident, a struggle ensued, which led to the taxi operator and one of his attackers receiving gunshot injuries before they abandoned him and the vehicle. The police were alerted, and on their arrival, they discovered the injured taxi operator and assisted him to the hospital for treatment. A search of the area reportedly led to the discovery of the injured gunman and one of his accomplices. A 6 Sawyer 9mm pistol, affixed with a magazine containing 11 cartridges, was also recovered. The injured man was transported to the hospital, where he's been treated under police guard, while the other was taken into custody. Their identities are being withheld, pending further investigations. Hanover records 11% reduction in murders. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is commending the Hanover police for achieving an 11% reduction in murders in the parish so far this year. Holness visited Hanover to hand over houses to several Jamaicans in need under the government's new social housing program. The Prime Minister also stopped at Johnsontown in the parish, which was recently the scene of a triple murder. Head of the Hanover Police, Superintendent Andrew Nish, said the police have put strategies in place to contain the violence in the area.
How are you, Soup?
I am doing great, sir.
How are things in the parish?
Well, so far, Honorable Prime Minister, we are experiencing a 11% reduction in murder. Now, where we are standing presently was a location of the recent triple murder, which is the Johnsontown district in the Lucy policing area. But so far, Honorable Prime Minister, we have put strategies in place to contain the spread of violence. We have other challenges in terms of different locations, such as Green Island, but with the hard-working men and women of the Hanover Division, I promise you, sir, we will be able to ensure that we have public safety and security at our interest at all times.
Very good. Hanover is one of the parishes that you don't expect to have high crime. But the truth is, from time to time, we see flare-ups, particularly related to gang activities. The underpinning of those would be scamming. Hanover is sandwiched between Westmoreland and St. James, and oftentimes there is a spillover effect. So I'm very happy to see that you have strategies in place to manage the displacement that happens from the other 2 parishes and to keep whatever gang activities that are resident here under control. Superintendent Nish, keep up the good work.
Thank you very much, sir.
Unidentified man killed in hit and run in St. Anne. An unidentified man died from injuries sustained after he was hit by a motor vehicle on the Londover Main Road in St. Anne on Friday evening. According to lawmen, the incident occurred around 8 p.m. It is reported that the man was hit by the motor vehicle, which did not stop. The police were called to the scene and the man was taken to hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Police say the bumper of a vehicle with a registration plate was found at the accident scene. According to the Road Safety Unit, RSU, St. Anne has recorded 21 road fatalities since the start of the year, compared to 19 in the corresponding period last year. Residents fear more violence following East Kingston murders. The East Kingston Criminal Investigation Branch, CIB, is probing 2 murders which occurred in the police division within 48 hours, driving upwards the homicide numbers and heightening fears of a peaceful summer. The latest incident took place in front of the Vauxhall High School entrance on Thursday, where, according to police reports, a businessman was gunned down while seated in his car along Windward Road, Kingston 2. The deceased man has been identified as 47-year-old Damien Edwards of Malvern Avenue in Kingston. Reports from the Elliston Road Police are that at about 6:40 p.m., a police team on patrol responded to hearing several explosions in the area. On their arrival, they stumbled upon a white Nissan Tida motor car along the roadway, with Edwards seated in the driver's seat with multiple gunshot wounds. He was assisted to hospital, where he was pronounced dead. In the area on Friday, residents expressed shock at the death and lamented the state of criminality in the area. Them man, their girls, man, him no deal with gun. I know me can't believe it. People hear him on him phone talk to a girl, and she'll tell him if he meet her. Him all did buy a food nearby and tell the shop operator to share the food him soon come back, and him never come back, a resident said. You can't even trust man or woman at these times. The summer just so bleak and here don't even start off good already. Right now, enough people are investing in installing security camera in them home and business. Detectives are also investigating the death of a man who was killed on Wellington Street or Victoria Avenue. Some residents declared that the deceased man is unknown to them. A police source, who requested not to be named, said that they have received information that the man came to the area to purchase an illegal gun and was ambushed. They believe a sum of cash was also taken from the deceased. Both murder incidents are still under investigation. Since the start of the year and years prior, the East Kingston community of Dunkirk has been embroiled in gang flare-ups, which often lead to murders and shootings. As at July 6, murders and shootings in the division had increases of 13% and 33% respectively. The division recorded 34 murders, 4 more than the corresponding period in 2023. There were 28 shooting incidents, 7 more than the period under review in 2023. St. Catherine farmer charged for allegedly killing security guard and burying him in shallow grave. A 25-year-old farmer, Kamal MacDonald, of Faceless Content in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, has been charged with the murder and illegal burial of 33-year-old security guard Kevin Anderson. The Spanish Town police say at about 1:39 p.m. on May 8, residents stumbled upon a body in a shallow grave along Faceless Content Main Road. An investigation was launched and the body was identified as Anderson. After following several investigative leads, MacDonald was implicated and was later taken into custody. He was subsequently charged with murder, conspiracy to murder, and unlawful burial of a dead body on Thursday. MacDonald is scheduled to appear in the St. Catherine Parish Court on July 22. Prosecution wants life sentences for Omar Collymore and 2 co-convicts. The prosecution wants Omar Collymore and the man whom he contracted to murder his wife, Simone Campbell Collymore, and her taxi driver, Winston Walters, to serve close to 50 years in prison before being eligible for parole. Collymore and his co-convicts Michael Adams and Dwayne Pink were on May 15 found guilty of murder and conspiracy to murder. Another co-convict, Shakila Edwards, was found guilty of conspiracy to murder. Acting Senior Director of Public Prosecutions, Andrea Martin Swaby, on Thursday recommended that Collymore and Adams be sentenced to life in prison for each of the murders. She also recommended that the men should serve 46.5 years before being eligible for parole in respect of Campbell Collymore's murder and 48.5 years for the murder of Walters. As it relates to Pink, Martin Swaby recommended a similar sentence for both murders, but she suggested that he be ordered to serve 41.5 years before being eligible for parole for Campbell Collymore's murder and 43.5 years for the other murder based on the minimal role he played in the murder plot. In relation to Edwards, the prosecution recommended 6.5 years, but Justice Dayton Pusey told her that given that the maximum sentence is 10 years and that the convict has already served 6.5 years in prison, that time would be outside of the court's jurisdiction. As a result, Justice Pusey told her she could only propose 3.5 years. Martin Swaby, further in her submission, proposed a starting point of 45 years for Collymore and Adams and 40 years for Pink. She argued that the case at hand, based on the circumstances, falls within the category of cases described as the worst of the worst, noting that the starting point must reflect the seriousness and gravity of the offense. Meanwhile, Jordan Walters, the wife of taxi operator Winston Walters, in her victim impact statement, said that she is constantly plagued by the memories of her husband's death and has regular meltdowns. She said her 3 children, ages 14, 10, and 8, also break down during the Christmas period as they remember that it is the time close to when they lost their father. She said his death has affected them mentally and that she is now left to shoulder the financial burden as a sole breadwinner and that she is barely coping. At times it feels as if I'm going crazy, she said, while noting that she would never get over her husband's death and that her heart has eternal sorrow and sad memories. St. James SSP to seek update into phone analysis in Gabriel King murder case. More than 2 years after the brutal January 13, 2022 murder of 9-year-old Gabriel King, which rocked St. James and the wider Jamaica, the parish's commanding officer of police, Senior Superintendent Iron Samuels, has promised to seek an update into the police's analysis of the child's mother's phone. Samuels made the commitment in a brief but forward-stepping statement while addressing Thursday's monthly meeting of the St. James Municipal Corporation, where Councillor Michael Troop, the council for the Granville Division, requested an update into the case's investigation. I'm seeking just a little update from the superintendent, where there was a murder in my space about 2 years now. The boy whose vehicle they hijacked and they killed him. St. James needed an update on that, Troop said in a short but pointed request. As it relates to an update regarding that murder, there is no update from the last time in terms of the investigation. The last thing we had heard was that the court had ordered that the phone be released. That is still being processed by our technical persons. So we have not gotten an update since then, but I seek to get that as soon as possible. Just remember that investigations take time, Samuels replied. That commitment from Samuels is the latest information to be given in relation to Gabriel King's murder, which took place after the child, who was developmentally challenged, was reportedly abducted from his mother, Amor Leon Issa, on January 13, 2022, along the Tucker Main Road in St. James. According to reports at the time, assailants dragged Leon Issa from the motor car in which the mother and child were traveling and then sped off with the vehicle with young King still inside. The vehicle was later found along the Fairfield Main Road and the child's body was found in the back seat with the throat slashed. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.